Sarah Kustak, and the White Sox are feeling good after coming off of a 5-3 interleague road trip. One of the main reasons for that is Scott Pasednik. He filled into that leadoff spot, much needed for this White Sox team early in the season. In the last 8 games, he is hitting .400 and has brought some much-needed consistency to this White Sox team. But coming into the 2009 season with some humble beginnings, it's no surprise that Scott Pasednik credits much of his success to his teammates.
There's 25 guys out there battling, and we're going to be a better ball club if we get all 25 guys on the same page and all working towards one goal. At different points of the year, you're going to have some guys that are hotter than others, and it's tough to have all 9 guys offensively out there hot at the same time. So sometimes you're going to have some guys kind of pulling their weight a little bit while some other guys are cold, while they work through their cold spots. But the goal is to just go out and battle as one unit each and every night.
And while Scott knows just how important the entire team is, he's really impressed some of his players. The veterans on his team, like a Jermaine Dye, know exactly what Pods brings to this team. But Gordon Beckham, who just recently came up to the White Sox, is very impressed by what leadership that Pods brings to the ball club.
I think he might be my favorite player, and that's on the team right now. I love the way he plays. He has a lot of intensity, and it reminds me a lot of what I'm used to. And he comes to play every day, and he gives it 120%. And I look up to that as a young guy, and I've really enjoyed watching him play.
Scotty's kind of got a second chance, and he's making the best of it, and he feels no pressure. I mean, he's just coming out trying to show not only this organization but baseball in general that he can still play. And it's kind of a lot of guys have said, and he also said, it's kind of like a tryout. I mean, he was out of baseball, sitting at home watching everybody play, and everybody kind of said he was done, and he was injury prone, and now he's kind of showing the world that he still can make a team better by producing at the top of the lineup. So whether it be here next year or wherever else, I mean, he's doing a great job for us.
Don't go anywhere. We've got the first pitch coming up in just a few minutes. Hawk and Stoney have the call right here on Comcast Sportsnet.
In first place in the National League West take on the White Sox in third place in the American League Central in a Southwest starting lineup for the Dodgers. It's Pierre, Burkell, and Hudson 1 through 3. Casey Blake from the Indians hitting cleanup. along with Ethier, Martin, Kemp, Loney, and Mitch Jones. DHing, hitting 9th. The Lowe's defensive setup and how they'll set up behind John Danks, left to right, Posednik, Anderson, and Dye. In the infield, Beckham, Ramirez, Getz, and Konerko. A.J. Pierzynski behind the plate and John Danks on the hill. And there's a look at our U.S. Cellular starting pitcher, John Danks, looking for his 6th win. ERA in the mid-4s. As you can see, things pretty good as far as strikeouts to walks. And Danks was brilliant last time out, looking for more of the same here tonight. Game time conditions, 83 degrees with 63% humidity. Winds out of the east at 5 to 10 miles an hour, very much summer-like. In fact, the temperatures today haven't been seen in this area since last September. And the umpires behind the plate, Joe West at first base, Ed Rapuano, Paul Schreiber at second, and Paul Nauert at third. It's 7-11 and it's time for the first pitch. Tonight's game time start is presented by 7-Eleven. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. And as Juan Pierre strides to the plate, I'll send it over to my play-by-play partner, Hawk Harrelson.
All right, Stone Pony, thank you. And once again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here on Comcast Sportsnet. And right off the bat, Ozzy's getting all over Juan Pierre.
Well, he's telling him to bunt because Beckham is playing almost on his doorstep.
And first pitch strike, says Joe West. Still one of my favorites. Good umpire. Outfield swung around to the left. Dodgers come in 22 over at 46 and 24. As Paulie go ahead and take it himself. And Pierre, who came in hitting at 337, is retired.
Well, Juan Pierre has been the catalyst for this offense since Manny Ramirez went down. And this Dodger team hasn't missed a beat. It's a completely different team without Ramirez. They're going to get him back on July 3rd. But you look at Joe Torre. I had a long talk with him before the game, and he said they would play the same type of game with Manny as without it. They have speed, and they're going to use it.
Here's Furcal. Rafael Furcal takes it up high. He's hitting .249, 3 homers, driven in 16 last year at .357, 5 homers, and knocked in 16 in limited action. That ball hit hard into center field. And one hop into the seats, so the ground rule double. Brian broke in a step, but still he wouldn't make that play.
Furcal has more power from the right.
Another switch hitter, Orlando Hudson, hitting at .309, 5 homers, 37 driven in. Dodgers come in hitting at .279 as a club with a 3.56 team ERA. They're 21-14 on the road and 25-10 at home. Hudson last year with the D-backs at .305, 8 homers, and knocked in 41.
And Hudson, like Furcal, a better hitter from the right side. However, he has more power from the left side.
That ball is smoked down into the corner. So Furcal's going to score. Back-to-back doubles by Furcal and Hudson, and the Dodgers lead at 1-0.
RBI number 38 for Hudson. Surprising thing about Hudson is that he signed so late. 100%. He's been hitting around and now over 300 for quite some time.
And that'll bring up Casey Blake, hitting at 300, 10 homers. He's knocked in 44. Takes that pitch downstairs. This is the 10th meeting of the year, not the year, but of interleague play between these two clubs. In the first 9, Sox have won 7 of them. There's the strike.
And Blake has the most experience against John Danks from his days with the Indians. And he became a real force in the middle of the lineup when Don Mattingly and Jeff Pentland, the hitting coaches, told him about right field. The fact that it's out there and there's a lot of runs to be driven in going that way.
Dodgers the only team that I know of that have 2 hitting coaches. And it's something that I certainly have always believed in. You're going to have 13 or 14 guys that you have to deal with as you look at a terrific guy, terrific player, Don Mattingly. Tough for one man to deal with those kinds of psyches. As we've said, the toughest uniform job in baseball is a hitting coach. But you have power hitters and you have line drive hitters.
And that's really the case, and that's why it does help to have 2 guys, because they both have a different hitting indoctrination, and you can certainly benefit from the experiences of both guys.
Now, Johnny doing the right thing as Getz jockeying in and out, in and out. Now backs it down.
Well, with 1 out, Hudson is thinking about stealing third base. He's 5 for 5 in stolen bases this year.
Dodgers have 61 in 81 attempts. Joe West. He's going to have Danks pitch in case he doesn't get back in the box.
That wouldn't be bad. It's pretty tough to hit from close to the on-deck circle.
And that pitch is fouled away. Yeah, it's tough for a line drive hitter who was a line drive hitter his whole career, now becomes a hitting coach, to get into the psyche of a home run hitter, and vice versa. Two different thought processes. Blake going into right, that ball in deep. Jermaine is there, makes the catch. Hudson tags, he'll move into third, and that's out number 2.
Well, it's also the advantage of John Danks making sure that he held the ball as Hudson was trying to get a little more ground to steal third. As it turns out, he's standing at third base instead of scoring the second run. And Blake
I'm glad they decided to stay inside of that one. As that'll bring up Andre Ethier, hitting at 268, 11 homers. He's driven in 43. First of a 3-game set, first of a 6-game homestand. 3 with these guys and 3 with the Cubs. Ethier fouls it back.
We certainly should be very familiar with these Dodgers, sharing a facility with them in Glendale. So we saw a whole lot of them in the spring. And Ethier originally came out of the Oakland organization and has turned into a pretty solid player for these Dodgers.
Yeah, last year he hit 305, 20 homers, and knocked in 77. As that hits him. So he will go down to first. A little delayed reaction right there by Ethier.
In the hand.
So now 2 out runners at the corners, and that'll bring up the catcher, Russell Martin. Hitting at 248, a homer. He's driven in 21. Last year hit 280, 13 homers, and knocked in 69. Takes first pitch, strike.
Martin really benefiting by the presence of backup catcher Brad Ausmus. Ausmus just a brilliant student of the game, and he's really helping Martin, especially on the defensive end.
Oh, nice play by Beckham on a tough hop. Nice pick by Pauly. Good all around. And that'll do it. They pick up one after a half inning of play. It's the Dodgers 1 and the good guys coming to bat.
Leading it off with Alexi Ramirez hitting second. Jermaine Dye back in the lineup. That's a good sight, hitting third. Jim Thome also back in the lineup, hitting cleanup. And it's Paul Konerko, A.J. Pierzynski, Brian Anderson, Chris Getz, and Gordon Beckham, who made a spectacular play getting out of that first inning. The Lowe's defensive setup: Pierre, Kemp, and Ethier left to right. Blake, Furcal, Hudson, and Loney in the infield. Russell Martin behind the plate. And the U.S. Cellular starting pitcher, Hiroki Kuroda. None of the Sox have seen Kuroda during the regular season, just his 6th start of the year. He started opening day, then he went on the shelf with some side problems, probably an oblique strain. And now he's back, making his 5th start after opening day. He's got a fastball that will top out at 94, but he pitches anywhere from 89 to 92.
And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. Scotty Pides hitting at 319, couple of homers, he's driven in 16. And the 0-1 pitch. Furcal got a gun, low throw, nice pick by Loney.
Well, Loney's a terrific first baseman, and Don Mattingly described him as a little bit like Mark Grace with some more power. And then I asked him, is that glove as good as Mark Grace's? And he goes, no, not quite yet, but he said he's got a chance to be a whole lot better, and he's got a chance to someday hit 20 to 25 home runs.
Well, the guy you were talking to had a pretty good glove himself.
There's no doubt.
Ball 1 to Alexei, hitting at 262, 8 homers, he's driven in 34. Sox come in at 252 as a club with a 4.08 team ERA. And here at beautiful USA Field, 330 down the left field line, 335 down the right field line, 375 in the gap, send 400 straight away center.
Kuroda has a good put away splitter that he throws.
Run out in front of the plate. Martin's got the angle. 2 down. And right now let's check out our picks to click this evening. Jim Angio, our Hall of Fame director and crew. Well, they went with AJ. Lisa, Steve, Larry, Tex, and Layla. They're going to go with Jim Thome. And Terry Hanley, Mike Williams, Paul Rubito, all the great folks out at Bolingbrook, and I. We're going to go with Gordon Beckham right there, who's already made a beautiful play.
Well, he saved at least 1 run, certainly, and a lot of pitches for John Danks.
Here's Jermaine at 264, 15 homers, 39 knocked in.
Outfield exactly dead straight away for Jermaine and very deep all the way around.
There's the strike. Kuroda, 34 years old, 6'1", 220 pounds, out of Osaka. Misses the inside corner. Chopper, one hopper. Blake, and an easy inning for the veteran right-hander. After one, it is 1-0 LA.
Sox.com.
Lower third of the Dodger order: Kemp, Loney, and Jones.
A wise idea to keep Kemp off base. He's swiped 18 bags. He's the team leader in that department. And he's having a very strong year.
Last year hit 290, 18 homers, knocked in 76. Takes ball one.
And Kemp's got some big power, especially to straightaway center. He also has tremendous speed.
And the count 2-0. Come back and get him. No leadoff walks, especially to a speedster.
Don't know what Joe Torre wants to do with Kemp, being youngster and all, but with a left-hander on deck, you'd think maybe he would give him the 3-0 green light.
Not leading off.
Not that time.
Well, here's Loney.
And having not seen Danks' move, John should probably throw one over there and save his good one for a pitch or two.
Throw out a little bait, huh? Do a little chumming.
Sure. Make that good base runner think that he's seen your best when you still have one in reserve.
Loney at 279. Watch out. Loney with only 4 homers, but he's knocked in 47. Last year, hit 289, 13 homers, and knocked in 90. So he's an RBI guy. Bit of a gap out there in left center. And that is 5 in a row off the mark.
And Loney is still a very young man. They love his hitting approach. He uses the whole field. And he's a big guy at 6'3", 220.
Long set by Danks.
And you can see he does use the whole field almost equally.
And there's a strike. Danks working very slow. That is not good. And the count 1-2.
Well, I can understand wanting to control a running game, but it's a real warm night, and you'd like to move as quickly as you can.
Well,
this is the
he's
slowest
shown
I've
us he
seen him.
pitches a lot better when he pitches quick.
No doubt. This is the slowest I've seen him in at least 5 or 6 starts.
The ball hit deep to right field. Jermaine back at the wall, and it is 3-0. This is not good when he's working this slow. So the leadoff walk, the 2-run homer. One of the greatest say-ins this game has ever had.
And the Sox are down early.
That'll bring up Mitch Jones, just called up from Albuquerque, where he had 21 homers, tied for the Pacific Coast lead in that category. There's a high towering, just missed him. To Brian Anderson, 1 out.
Now you always have to watch the bunt from Juan Pierre, and it doesn't matter if Gordon Beckham is well in on the grass, which he will be. But if Paul Konerko isn't in front of that bag, Pierre can drag it, and he's good at it.
Pierre grounded out to Paulie. And that's out of play left side.
In talking with Pierre, he was talking about the 2003 Marlins, where Ozzie was third base coach. Said he'd love to see him give signs to the pitcher in a bunt situation. Because after the first time the pitcher would look down, and Ozzie would just go, "It's a bunt. Bunt the ball." No sign, just tell him to bunt it.
Ozzie had to be a real treat. Coach at third base. We had a couple players on the team I played on. That's what that bunt sign was. Bunt. Bunt the ball. They could have given those guys signs all day long, and they would never gotten one of them. Full count. And another foul ball.
Ozzie thought that was a special team, and it turned out that they were. A young Josh Beckett was just dominating people. They had a good lineup, played smart baseball, and they had tremendous speed at the top.
That's hit into center field. Brian never took his eye off of it. 2 down. That'll bring up the shortstop. Switch hitting Rafael Furcal, who lined a bullet over the head of Brian Anderson. One hop into the seats in right center.
Part of most trainers' jobs. They came up in the minor leagues doing that, taking care of some glove work.
Well, they call it moonlighting.
You have to be able to do that in the minor leagues. In the major leagues, they do it because they like to.
Yeah. Ground ball right side, but the walk, the 2-run homer by Loney, and Banks tails it 3-0.
Sox will wear throwback 1959 jerseys. For tickets, call 866-SOX-GAME or visit whitesox.com.
Nice round of applause for Big Jim Thome, and it is nice to see him back in that lineup. And first pitch swinging right to Hudson. So 1 pitch, 1 out here in the bottom of the second. Dodgers lead at 3-0. So here's Konerko. Paulie hitting at 288, 9 homers. He's driven in 43. Outfield very stationary and almost set in their positioning. Straight up, spread out. The ball hit deep, way back. Pierre just looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes.
Got the fastball that he was looking for, and it turned into number 10 and number 44. Sunday's game, he drove in his 1,000th run. That's 1,001.
First pitch strike to AJ, hitting at 289, 7 homers, 18 knocked in. Yes, sir. If there's anybody the day off did good, it was 2 guys really, Paulie and Jermaine. That sore left calf. 0-2 the count. Of course, with that home run by Konerko, the Alex Nelius family will donate $100 to White Sox charities for every Sox homer hit throughout the course of the season. That is number 75. So $7,500 donated by Alex Nelius in loving memory of Ursula.
There's Paul telling the youngster just exactly what Kuroda's fastball is doing.
There's a shot right to Hudson. That's a hang woofle. Well, the best thing he can tell him is give him a likeness. This guy's like Steve Stone. This guy's like Jimmy Jones. This guy's like Sam Smith, whoever it may be.
Well, he's got to tell him which college pitcher he's like, because Gordon doesn't have a whole lot to fall back on.
No, I'm just saying that would be the best thing he could tell him.
Eventually he will do that, and I think that he's one of the quicker learners that I've seen come up to the major leagues.
Ryan fouls it over into our dugout.
Hawk, any way to tell how Tomi's going to come back from really 9 days off and just pinch hitting?
No.
Nothing. You just really don't know.
No. I just know he was swinging the bat extremely well. In the last 4 or 5 home runs that he hit the left center. That bodes well for what he was going to do. Now, if he stays with that, he's going to be fine. If he doesn't, then he might go through a little cool down period.
Well, Joe Torre told me when he was with the Yankees, he said that he played 3 National League teams in 3 National League cities and actually lodged a complaint with baseball saying it wasn't fair to his designated hitter.
As Bryan strikes out, but the home run by Konerko will go to the third, trailing by 2.
I'm here with Jackie Joyner-Kersee, and some call her one of the greatest female athletes in the history of sports. I call her one of the greatest athletes in the history of sports, and so does ESPN. Now, I know you were born in East St. Louis, Illinois. I know you're a Cardinal fan, but you're wearing the Sox colors. And today's Olympic Day. And what does it mean to the city of Chicago, and what is the city doing?
You know, the Olympic Day is celebration, commemorative of the Olympic Games, the Olympic movement, and with Chicago and the USOC trying to bring the Olympic Games here to Chicago in 2016. It was really great to be able to celebrate Olympic Day today.
Understand something. This woman won 3 gold medals, 6 medals overall, and 1 gold medals in the heptathlon, which is 7 events in back-to-back Olympics, the first person ever to do that. So quite obviously you're very familiar with what it takes and the price you have to pay to be great. What does the city of Chicago have to do to be great enough to get the Olympics?
You know what? The city of Chicago has a lot to offer, from the arts, the culture, the international flavor. It's located in the Midwest, and I just think that it is a great place to host the Olympic Games. And I hope when the committee start their bid and really look at what Chicago has to offer, and to be in the Midwest part of the country, I just think it'll be awesome.
Well, Jackie, it's great to have you up here. It's great to see you, and it's a thrill for me to finally meet you.
Oh, thank you.
And the count 0-2 with one out. Here in the top of the third to Casey Blake.
Terrific, honey. Been a big fan of yours for a long time. Even though you still like you're 16 years old.
Oh, what an athlete. Boy, wow. Man.
You participate in 7 sports, and you're the best in the world in 2 Olympics?
Come on.
It's pretty good.
If you didn't know it was true, you'd say somebody's pushing the envelope.
Well, fortunately, they didn't have that sport when I was growing up. I mean, had it been ping pong, bowling, and a couple of other things, I might have been able to compete. But
just off the outside corner. Yeah, I heard you were a pretty good ping pong player.
Not bad. But those are real sports that she participated in.
Out in front. Hooks it down. Larry Bowl will make that play and make himself a new friend. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors for them. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors for us. Blake went out deep to right field his first trip. And the 2-2 pitch. He gone.
So here's Ethier. All right, we saw him pitch very, very slowly in inning 1. Stevie?
Yep.
We saw him walk Kemp last inning, working very, very slow. Then the 2-run homer by Loney. Then for some reason, the next 3 guys, he worked very quickly. He retired them in order, working quickly right here, so that's 5 in a row. Sometimes it's just hard to find that rhythm, isn't it?
Well, I think that Don Cooper probably told him, you're not going to find the rhythm if you work that slowly.
Three and 0 the count. Ethier was hit by a pitch. So that is the second walk. Those leadoff walks to Kemp last inning have a bad habit coming around the score. This one coming with 2 out. And here's Martin. He was robbed of a base hit and an RBI on a beautiful play by Gordon Beckham, and then Paulie finished it off with a nice pick.
Well, Russell Martin has particularly good speed, so in the infield they have to be aware that Martin can really run. Now it could be with a few more years of catching that those hamstrings will shorten up somewhat, and that great speed that he possesses now he won't have. But he swiped 7 bases this year.
Fouls that back in the count, 0-2. On a consistent basis. The best running catcher I've ever seen was Ivan Rodriguez.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean over the years, over the long haul.
Another guy who came in with great speed, but quite obviously his untimely death, was Thurman Munson. He could run.
One of the great competitors this game has ever seen. And a former,
no question,
teammate of yours.
He was my catcher in college. He was all-state in football, basketball, and baseball, and was the 2nd fastest runner on our college team.
What a tragedy.
Well, there was a good chance, in my estimation, that he winds up in the Hall of Fame if he's allowed to play out his career and spend as long as he could in the game.
And he's going to back off, throw to second. He gone. Lance Johnson jump didn't work right there, and that'll retire the side. We'll go to the bottom of the third. We need 2 to tie. And legendary slugger, the big hurt Frank Thomas, former Cubs Todd Hollingsworth and Doug Glanville, and Bill Melton for the best pre- and post-game shows in town. The best coverage of the Crosstown Classic is on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Gets Beckham and back to the top of the order with Pasednik here in the bottom of the third.
Chris is swinging the bat pretty well. And they're playing him straight away, and again very deep as it's lively at the park. Kuroda last year went 9-10. This year he's 1-3, so 3 under in his United States Major League career.
Flips that one back.
Last 9 games, Chris is swinging the bat well. And he's been pulling a lot of pitches, and there is a gap in right center field.
The 0-2. Good eye. I want it in. He got it in on corner.
Our Home Depot doing more on defense was Gordon Beckham.
Blake even with the bag off the line at third as there is a strike on the outside edge. Cubs leading the Tigers 2-1. Middle of that ball game. And the count 0-2.
That time Martin gave the sign for the 0-2 fastball. He wanted it up and on the inner portion, so at least it looked enticing. Kuroda got it up and away, well out of the zone.
That's top foul. In game 2 tomorrow, Gavin Floyd against Randy Wolf. Make your plans to be with us here at the ballpark.
Randy Wolf has 12 no decisions. And that's really astonishing.
As a rule, they'll tell you he's pitching pretty well.
Well, he's pitching very well, and it also shows you that the Dodgers have had their problems scoring big runs.
Good eye right there. Count evens at 2. Then on Thursday in the finale, Clayton Richard against Chad Billingsley, 24-year-old right-hander. And that game right back here on Comcast Sportsnet. Three strikeouts in a row for Kuroda.
Kuroda. And hopefully the second time through the order, and this is the start of the second time through the order, Sox will have a better idea about Kuroda and how his fastball moves and how the splitter works.
There's a chopper 2 hopper for calls. Got him. Easy 1-2-3 inning for the 34-year-old right-hander, and we'll go to the 4th.
Dodgers record with 6 200-hit seasons.
Russell Martin was at the plate when Andre Ethier took off towards second base. Didn't quite make it. Outfield, ground to the left. Alexei deep at short. Checks it up. He did not go.
Russell Martin with just 1 home run. He plays in a tough park, especially at night, to hit the ball out of, and that's Dodger Stadium. From the side, he looks like he did indeed check it up. So,
and that's up high.
A little surprised that Russell doesn't even think about a bunt, which is a good thing because Beckham is way back at third. Also, he's ahead now, 2-1.
Change up, good one. Down and away.
Probably the best changeup that John has thrown tonight.
And that 2-2 pitch, chop foul. We mentioned Floyd against Wolf tomorrow night. Clayton Richard against Billingsley on Thursday. Then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're going to run Contreras, Burley, and Danks to the bump against the Cubs. They're going to run
Wells, Dempster, and Zambrano. He gone.
Since John has speeded things up, he's gotten a whole lot more. Martin expanding his zone. Goes down on strikes.
Thanks. Besides looking in and out as a hitter, you now all of a sudden, if he keeps it down like he did to Martin right there, where just as Steve said, it just explodes down out of the strike zone, you now have to gear up and down.
Well,
now you got to watch all four quadrants.
Yeah, and you change eye levels for a hitter, and also you make that fastball probably look 6 inches faster.
At least. That ball hit deep by Kemp. Brian back makes the catch.
Well, we told you about Kemp's big power to straightaway center field, and fortunately he hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark. Spare before he got to the wall.
If hitters had their druthers, 9 out of 10 of them would tell you, I don't mind trying to cover in and out. I'd much rather try to cover in and out than up and down.
Well, that's Hawk why they talk about good pitchers are the guys that can go up by design, not pitch up all the time, but down, down, and then all of a sudden high fastball, can't catch up to it.
It was faced some of the best as far as what you would call high ball pitchers. One pitch with the White Sox. Gus. Joe would have let you know it too.
Well, AJ was sitting on the outside corner. That ball went inside, and AJ couldn't get a glove on it.
That ball hit deep into center field. Ryan is there. Makes the catch. So that's a 1-2-3 inning. And we'll go to the bottom of the fourth. It'll be Ramirez, Dye, and Tomey.
Dodger pitching is very good, and Hawk, their defense has been exceptional this year, and that's been one of the reasons why they have the best record in the major leagues.
Well, that never runs your score up when you got good pitching and good defense.
And this year, Casey Blake has played a great third base. They've added Orlando Hudson at second, and their infield has been nothing short of spectacular.
Alexei takes that breaking ball low and away.
By contrast, they've made a total of 31 errors this year. The Sox have made 49.
Well, when you hear a team has been playing very well defensively. The first thing you ask, are they fast? And the answer is yes, these guys are fast. So that makes it a double-edged sword. Now got the middle for Kyle's got big range, big arm, gets it.
We'll take another look as the duck comes waddling by to the Aflac trivia question. Question, who holds the LA Dodger record with 6 200-hit seasons? And the answer, Steve Garvey. 74 through 76, 78 through 80. He was the only man I've ever seen, Hawk, who could wear a hat and a helmet and slide into home plate to end the game and never have a hair out of place.
Helmet head, huh?
It was interesting. He was a great player.
Yeah, he was.
And a terrific hitter. Hit the ball to all fields, had power to all fields, and had Popeye forearms.
Jermaine takes down low ball 2. Jermaine grounded out to Casey Blake. Yeah, Casey Blake just keeps getting better as he gets older.
They've done a real good job with him here in Los Angeles.
There's a little looper for a base hit. Well, the 1-out single, that'll bring up Tomey.
I know, Hawk, you saw him all those years with the Cleveland Indians, and it seemed to me, especially the last couple of years of his career with the Indians, that he never got the respect that he probably should have gotten. I mean, he was always a guy that gave you the good effort, and eventually they traded him away and didn't get a whole lot in return.
I always liked him when he was in Minnesota. He's always played well against us. You know, he might not have played well against other teams, but against the White Sox, he always performed very well. Now they get the modified shift on. Breaking ball strike. Tomey grounded out to Orlando Hudson his first trip. Little high. And the count 1-1.
Well, you hope that Kuroda decides to throw something about thigh high. Doesn't matter if it's inside or outside, because Jim can get to it.
And a good eye right there. Martin trying to pull it back. I should say up.
Well, Martin doesn't catch. That makes it appear lower than it probably really was.
The 2-1. Big hack by Jimmy. Just pulled his head just enough. Dadgummit.
That one looked like the fastball in the spot that normally Tomey would hit awfully hard. It didn't catch up to it that time. Martin wants a fastball inside. Let's see if Kuroda can get it there.
Now, one thing about Joe West, if the fastball inside has a corner, he will call it. Terrific umpire.
I think Joe's actually gotten better.
Oh, he's one of those guys that you'd love to have in the 7th game of the World Series doing the balls and strikes.
Plus, he could sing you his country songs.
I got his album or his CD. As he strikes him out upstairs. Hit a long home run back in the 2nd inning, his 10th of the season.
Takes it low and away.
Well, Kuroda's had very good control, and that's something that he really hasn't had since he's come back off the disabled list. And it doesn't reflect in the walks as much as what's called wild in the strike zone. And that is missing your spots and using too much of the plate with all of your pitches. That gets you hurt.
Got in on fist of Paulie.
Here's our Jaguar high performance of the week, and it's Paul Konerko. 1,000 RBI Sunday in Cincinnati, 300th home run with the White Sox Friday in Cincinnati.
Two out and the 1-1 pitch. Paulie trying to take that breaking ball into right field. Souvenir upper tank.
Well, the Tigers had taken a 3-2 lead over the Cubs, but the Cubs have bounced back to take a 4-3 lead. And if it does hold on, there will be ground to be gained.
Outfield playing everybody just about the same. Got him. Paulie thought it was a little low and in. Meanwhile, we'll go to the fifth. Mitch Jones, the 9th place hitter, the DH, 31-year-old who has 221 career minor league home runs.
You can get that in 2 years in Albuquerque.
Ball jumps pretty good, I heard. I've never played in that ballpark.
It's something.
And as coming back and underneath Stone Pony. He had a high of 39 homers back in '04 at Trenton. Originally a Yankee farmhand. Out of Arizona State. Two and one. Just got a piece of it.
Well, usually when a guy spends as much time as in the minor leagues that Jones has, he doesn't hit the breaking ball or the changeup particularly well. You miss with the fastball. In his case, he can hit it a long way.
He gone.
The Dodgers for years were always trading you the next great first baseman. And they were and to a certain extent Mike Marshall and
now time is called.
Well, John should follow through with that delivery, because you can really hurt yourself by stopping as he did. And I think Joe West is explaining to Ozzie just exactly why he did stop him.
Point now towards the scoreboard. Ozzie. There's a strike on the corner. Pierre has grounded to Paulie, and he's gone out to center. And the count 0-2.
Now you have one advantage, is you can move back a touch in the infield. John about ready to deliver his 72nd pitch.
Got to hurry, Chris Getz. And they get him. Nice play. 2 down.
And the break there was that the ball came off the mound with a little bit more steam on it. Watch it again.
Second, fakes the bunt here in the 5th.
McCall got a big 3-year contract originally with the Dodgers and had all kinds of physical problems. That ran out. They signed him to another one for a few less bucks, but still a nice contract.
When he's healthy, he's a good player.
He's a terrific player.
That's out of play.
But the when he's healthy is the key. He had big back problems. Had some arm problems. But hitting from both sides of the plate with the arm he has from shortstop and the ground he can cover, he can help turn a game around.
That's outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. The game in the bottom of the 8th now. Cubs leading the Tigers 4-3. Nice inning for Johnny Danks. And we're halfway home. It is 3-1 Dodgers. All right, Chuck, thank you very much, buddy. We need to get a little something going here. AJ will lead it off. First ball hunting. Little free hopper. One pitch, one out.
One thing you're not going to see is this Dodger defense losing the ball game. It's one of the things that Joe Torre talked about before the game was the fact that his pitching was good, although a little spotty in that the starters haven't gone long for him, putting a little pressure on his bullpen. But he raved about the defense and what they have meant to his team.
One of these days he's going to be acknowledged for the great manager that he is. He still has not. Unbelievable.
Even with 4 rings.
Yeah, unbelievable. Really is.
And it could very well be, Hawk, that those early years, and the oddity was that he managed every team he played for, the Braves, the Mets, and St. Louis in the National League. Then he went to New York after spending 5 years in the booth, where he admitted that he actually saw things from the booth that he couldn't see in that dugout. And he said he believes it made him a better manager.
He and I did some games together in the past, and I'll tell you what, he is just a joy. He's a terrific, terrific guy.
Well, I think he's an excellent manager. He's got the 4 World Championship rings. He piloted this Dodger team last year to the playoffs and a first-round victory over the Cubs. And he's got them on the right track. They got the best record in baseball now without Manny Ramirez.
Ryan struck out his first trip in the count at 1-2. I never knew what to think about Joe. I played against him in spring training. All of a sudden, when we got to do those games together, you get to know a guy a little bit. He's just terrific. The 1-2.
First of all, Torrey started off as a catcher, and they have to be as aware as anybody on the field. He also played some third base. He played some first base, had over 2,500 hits. And he understands the game exceptionally well.
As he gets Brian for the second time. Well, the thing that he probably, and is the culture of baseball changes, which it does every 10, 15 years. The thing he has done, without question, in my opinion, better than any other manager. Better. Not as good, but better. The toughest place in baseball to manage is in New York.
No question.
And he handled the press better than any manager I have ever seen.
He did that, and he did something right along with it, and that was manage a room full of the most gigantic egos that you can imagine with that Yankee team. And doing both of those, he won.
Well, he had that ball hit deep into right center field. Get on back there. Kemp is there. Bobbles it a couple of times, hangs on to it, and that'll retire the side. So the warning track, and that'll do it. A 1-2-3 inning. Kuroda's retired 5 in a row.
is able.
Orlando Hudson. And the count 2-0. Hudson has doubled. That knocked in for a call back in the first inning. And he's grounded to second. And that's out of play right side.
Hudson always was a good solid player, and with the Diamondbacks he just got hurt at the tail end of 2 different seasons. So with the Diamondbacks on a bit of an austerity kick and a lot of young players, they decided to let him go on the market. And I think he was surprised because the original asking price was supposedly in the neighborhood of $5 for $60. And when nobody thought that was a real good idea, he wound up settling for about $3.5 with incentives for 1 year with the Dodgers. I think, Hawk, a lot of people were surprised this offseason.
There's no question. They got their ears lowered a little bit.
Just a little.
You know, getting back to the Yankees with Joe. Watch out, Johnny. Wow.
Well, that came close to hitting Diggs. I mean, really close to hitting him. And pitchers don't expect this because you're delivering and trying to strike.
Full count to the leadoff hitter here in the top of the 6th inning. 3-1 Dodgers on top. But there's a changeup. He gone. And getting back to Joe with those egos that you were talking about, which there were plenty of in that clubhouse. He had a lot of things that he stopped them before they started, or even got close to starting in that clubhouse. That's Derek Jeter, of course.
Well, another factor also is that he has such a high baseball acumen that he's usually one of the smartest players, if not the smartest player on the field, anytime he takes the field.
Well, you get players like that sometimes, Steve. You get players who actually know more than the manager. Now, does that mean they're going to manage or be good managers down the road? Not necessarily. I've seen some players. I remember one manager who was a good player, very good player. When I was with the Red Sox, he traded for him. He called me up and he said, "Hawk, what am I getting here?" And I said, "Well, you're getting a guy who knows more about the game than you do." He started laughing. I said, "I'm serious." I said, "Don't ever insult his intelligence." And I said, if you do that and you take him out against real strong left-handed pitchers, you take him out, don't make him take himself out, then you got yourself a hell of a player. And he did. He played it like that, and he was a heck of a player. That's poked out into right field. Casey Blake, who's now 0 for 3.
The first 25,000 fans in attendance at each home game will receive a Dick's Sporting Goods game card redeemable for $10 off your purchase of $50 or more.
But what Steve and I are talking about right now goes on a lot in this game. Steve does it, and I do it. I've been doing it for a long time. When you acquire a new player, that's up high to Ethier, you'll call somebody from that organization that you're familiar with and ask them, what are we getting here? And they will tell you, and they do the same thing. When they get somebody, they'll call, so what are we getting here?
Well, a lot of guys, and we know, Hawk, that this is just kind of the wave of the future. They use the computers and they'll take a look, and that tells you all the numbers. But to really know a guy, you got to go inside that clubhouse and talk to the guys who have played alongside him and figure out if, one, he's a winning type player, two, he's a winning type player on a team that's going to at least contend for the pennant, because there's a lot of guys can play real well if the team finishes 4th or 5th.
And occasionally you get some bad information, because just because a guy plays well with a particular club does not mean he's going to do that with your team, and vice versa. But most of the time it's pretty good. I know I called when we got Albert Bell. I called a friend of mine in Cleveland and said, "What are we getting here?" He said, "What do you think you're getting here?" So I told him. He said, "You're right."
Got a tremendous hitter.
Yeah, he could hit. There's no question about that. But there's always that but.
There's always a but.
That second half he had for us that year was as good as any second half you ever want to see a guy have. And that's out of play. If you're just tuning in, Johnny worked very slowly in the first inning, gave up a run. He worked very slowly in the second, gave up a leadoff walk and a 2-run homer to Loney. Since that 2-run homer, though, he has really speeded it up. And this will be 9 in a row that he has retired. And 13 out of 14. And sitting next to me is our quality control agent, making sure everything's going all right. My beautiful wife, my beautiful Greek, Aristea. Stoney, you know, Kuroda has been scuffling. All of a sudden now, he's pitching pretty well.
Well, he also has pretty good rhythm, and he's throwing just about everything in the zone. He hasn't walked anybody yet. He's only given up a couple of hits. And hopefully this time through the order, things will work out a little better.
Gordon Beckham struck out his first trip. And you know when your ninth place hitter is there's the chopper 2 hopper to Fakal is only making his second at bat here in the 6th inning that somebody's been pitching pretty good. I was talking to Rick Mundy, Charlie Steiner, radio voices of Dodgers prior to the game, and they said that they thought Kuroda, who has really been scuffling, is just on the cusp of breaking out.
Well, if he starts pitching well for him, Billingsley has been just outstanding. They got a youngster by the name of Clayton Kershaw, who's 4-5, but his ERA is 3.76, so he's been throwing well enough. Doesn't have that much to show for it. But it would be a big lift for them if Kuroda did come back. Now, last year he was a game under 500. He still has good enough stuff to win a lot of games.
Well, with a defense like they have, yeah. If you make them pitch to contact,
And there is Charlie Steiner on the left, and Rick Mundy, who was baseball's first ever pick in the draft. Because there's a good eye by Pines.
And he also is a man that saved the flag.
Yep. Good guy.
A couple of guys tried to burn the flag in the outfield in Los Angeles. Rick came across, saved it.
3-0 strike. Rick joined us in Kansas City.
1965 was that first draft.
Yeah, we had a pretty good outfield. Next year, that's slapped to recall. And that's out number 2. We had Joe Rudy in left, Rick Mundy in center, and Reggie Jackson in right.
I would say that's a pretty good outfield. And all youngsters at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And the 2 guys on the corners went on to be mainstays of that great Oakland dynasty that won in 72, 3, and 4 under Dick Williams.
5 consecutive divisional titles and 3 consecutive world championships.
It was just an outstanding team, again with great pitching and great defense, because the hitters were good, but they didn't drive that team.
That's softly hit, backhanded by Blake. And another quick 1-2-3 inning. That's 8 in a row retired by Kuroda. In this game, just 5 hits, no errors. They had 3 runs on 3 hits. We have 1 run on just 2 hits. Kuroda has retired 18 of 20. Johnny Danks really settled down since walking the leadoff hitter in the second, throwing a 2-run homer. That made it a 3-0 game. Since then, he has retired everybody, with the exception of the walk to Ethier, and then got him caught stealing, picked off.
Octavio Dotel loosening up in the bullpen.
Big hack by Martin. Kemp on deck. Loney in the hole.
Martin is a product of Los Angeles Dodgers farm system, which dried up for a while. Now is getting pretty good again. Matt Kemp, a member of that system, as is James Loney. Broxton, their closer. Billingsley, their #1 starter.
That's foul.
This will be pitch number 101.
He gone.
But John's had a good straight change since that 2-run homer by Loney. He's been pretty close to untouchable. Has Martin well out in front of it. When you can throw a 3-2 change, have the, you're going to be pretty good.
Kemp out in front, hooks that one foul. He walked and scored and has gone out deep to center.
For a while it looked like they were going to use Kemp to get the pitching they desperately needed. Wisely they hung on to him, and just now he's really starting to blossom.
Right to Becker. That's a hang wolf. 2 down.
Thanks.
So here's Loney, cranked out his 5th homer. Checks it up. That's a fair ball. Johnny takes his time. Got plenty of it. Makes the play. 12 in a row retired by Danks, but 7th inning stretch, we trail it 3-1. Hiroki Kuroda pitching a 2-hitter. Only 2 guys that have reached base. The homer by Konerko, the single by the man at the plate right now, Jermaine Dye. Warm but beautiful evening for baseball here in the beautiful city. That strike evens accounted 1.
It's only 65 pitches for Kuroda, who was averaging less than 6 innings per start. Matt Thornton loosening in the pen.
It's the outside corner and a count 1-2.
Dodgers have a couple of youngsters in their bullpen that are really impressive. Ronald Belisario and Ramon Troncoso.
Good eye right there. Good pitch by Kuroda.
Corner.
Yeah, Kuroda, they tell me, when he's right, he can fill that mitt up.
Well, he had a long and illustrious career in Japan before coming over to the United States. Last year was a disappointment for him, and this year he battled some injury problems. Normally, he's got very good control.
JD got a pretty good pitch to hit, pops it up. One out.
There are the numbers in Japan. 103 wins, only 89 losses, and a 3.69 ERA. Not bad because there's some very small ballparks over there. Keep that ERA down at that level.
Big Jim is 0 for 2. He grinded to second and struck out. Jacks it up, takes a strike.
Well, the Cubs were leading 4-3 into the bottom of the 9th inning, and they did us no help. As the Tigers beat their closer, Kevin Gregg, won that game 5-4. Dodgers, by the way, this year 16-7 in one-run games.
One of, not all, but one of the secrets to winning in the major leagues, you've got to win close ball games.
Well, you don't want to play them a one-run game in Los Angeles because they're 13-2 in their home ballpark in one-run games. And that usually signifies a terrific bullpen.
And a great psyche from the manager. Winning close ball games is a mindset. And that is high into short left field. Juan Pierre coming on. He's going to make this play. And one of the best examples Sox fans can recall would be back in '05. Seemed like every time we got into a close ball game, we won it. Some managers, they're behind, gets as tight. You couldn't pull a grease tee out of there with a pair of pliers. And the players feel it. Other guys like Ozzie, they're loosey-goosey, the good ones. No pressure. Usually that club will win close ball games.
But it helps to have the #1 pitching staff in the National League. They do. The #2 hitting team, not in runs scored, but in average, and the #3 fielding team in the National League.
Well, you would translate that, let's say, into another sport like golf. It helps when you can make everything from 10 feet in.
And hit a lot of the fairways.
On the outside corner, Paulie is homered and caught looking. Homer number 10, RBI number 44. Outfield playing everybody about the same. Straight up, deep, spread out. And let's check out that Dodge drive. If you missed it, poof, went out in the second inning.
It's only been
Burkall backs up a little bit, flips it over there. Another 1-2-3 inning. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 of those that Kuroda has had.
2 record, 2.05 ERA. John Danks, after the first 2 innings, was brilliant, but he leaves trailing 3-1. Went 7 innings, 3 runs on 3 hits, a couple of walks, and 5 strikeouts. A very impressive outing for John, but the offense has not come through to this point.
Well, from the 3rd to the 7th, he faced a minimum. He did walk Ethier back in the 3rd, and then he got picked off. Yeah, he was very, very deliberate, very slow through the first 2, and after that picked it up and just slammed the door on. Jones checks it up, fouls it off.
I think he cracked his bat. You know, before he gave up the home run, Hawk, is when we had the discussion about how slowly he was working, and it was most unusual because he hasn't been doing that. Maybe the first couple innings he just didn't have confidence in his stuff, but when it came to him, he was unhittable.
Ball hit hard, fair. Jones turns on that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And there's the leadoff double.
We're talking about what teams do in 1- and 2-run games. These Dodgers, 28-14 in 1- and 2-run games. Low fastball.
Now Pierre's got a job to do. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Grounded to first, gone out to center, and then grounded to second.
He's going to be trying to bunt it at Beckham.
And that's just foul.
Good secondary lead. Either Ramirez going back of him, or because he's faster than Jones, try to cover third base. Might be able to get the out there, even though, of course, it'd be a tag play, not a force out.
Now Alexi jockeying in. And that's popped out. And Alexi, no, Gordon makes a catch. What a nice play by Beckham. Wow.
Great effort by Beckham, who was in protecting against the bunt, and Alexi came flashing by, and Beckham made the catch. You very rarely
for 3, a double and a run scored. That coming back in the first inning. Alexi hangs back, now guns over. 2 out. Two down to Orlando Hudson. 22,251. They have been a good crowd, but are disappointing in numbers.
I thought with the Dodgers coming to town, and still there's 2 more games in this series, this is a really good Dodger team. And coming off that road trip, which was very impressive, 3 National League cities and a 5-3 record. This would be a very engaging, and is a very engaging matchup.
There's a strike to even the count at 1. Kevin Floyd against Randy Wolf tomorrow night, so make your plans to be with us here at beautiful U.S. Cellular Field. And on Thursday afternoon, it'll be Clayton Richard against Chad Billingsley. And let's check out this schedule, our Felco upcoming schedule for you. Then the Cubs, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to run Contreras, Burley, and Danks out there against the Cubs. They're going to run Wells, Dempster, and Zambrano. Then it's off to Cleveland and Kansas City for 4. There's Jose. He's got the first game on Friday against the Cubs. Just off the corner.
I think Thornton wanted that. AJ wants it out. Well, the Kansas Cities and the Clevelands struggling somewhat. Kansas City losers of 5 in a row coming into tonight's action. The Indians losers of 6 in a row. And Joe West has heard enough. Now we'll see who exactly he threw out.
I'm the worst lip reader in the world. I wish I could read lips.
Well, Joe is saying, I thought you were talking to me. Maybe he said, are you talking to me? Well, Ozzie gets the boot.
All right, 2 out, full count. And that's ball 4.
And a great stop by AJ, because you've got Jones sitting 90 feet away from a big insurance run, and that slider well in the dirt that walked Hudson. And now Don Cooper comes out to talk with Thornton and how they want to deal with Blake.
Came out of the dugout, so Thornton will depart. We'll be back.
gives one lucky fan the chance to pitch for $1 million. Miller Lite, the ultimate light beer. And Octavio Dotel comes into the game. Dotel, 1-2, ERA 3.33, on for the 31st time. 27 total innings. He inherits runners at the corners. There are 2 outs here in the 8th inning. These would be 2 big runners to leave stranded.
35-year-old veteran Casey Blake is 2 for 8 lifetime against Dotel. 3 strikeouts, but he has knocked in 4 runs. Pretty good lead there. He goes. So he'll pick up his 6th stolen base. Uncontested. And knocks in 2. Did you see Hudson right there?
I did.
Yeah. Looked like he was trying to give him location.
Well, I think that's what he's doing, because when a right-hand pitcher to a right-hand hitter comes inside, 98% of the time it's a fastball.
And there's a base hit. And it's a 5-1 Dodger lead.
Well, we told you early in the game that Blake has been driving in some big runs because both Don Mattingly and Jeff Pentland, the hitting coaches, talked to him about right field. He's been going to right field all night. This one off the end of the bat. RBIs 45 and 46. More importantly, it gives the Dodgers a 5-1 lead. And there's a look at Don Mattingly and a very happy Casey Blake.
Yeah, the first pitch was a breaking ball away, and Hudson took his gloved hand and swept it across like it was outside. That one, he went to his helmet, pulled it up, which could have been signed for the fastball. Hey, that is not cheating.
No, and if you're giving location, again, you're not going to be able to read the pitch, but if you have a hitter looking outside with a guy giving him location, it's a little easier to hit.
Better believe it. You know, in today's game, everything, for the most part, everybody tries to be PC, politically correct, you know, and what they're talking about. Stealing signs is as much a part of this game as the bat and the ball. Always has been and always will be.
Well, the teams that are good at it have a tremendous advantage.
Oh, and you get, it seems like each and every passing year you have fewer teams that are doing it.
Well, there's some guys don't want to know the pitch. I can understand that, but certainly location would be really good to know, and it's easier for the runner at second.
Well, when Blake got on first base, I was watching him, and Hudson was walking towards the dugout. Casey kept looking at him. As I said, that's just gamesmanship right there. It is not cheating. I wanted to know as much as I could. I needed it. There's the strike. Well, now that close pitch that Ozzie got tossed out on to Hudson, the walk, the stolen base, and a little single. And that's ball 4. So a big swing right here with those 2 insurance runs.
And Don Cooper calling down to the bullpen.
Gap out there in left center. And the count 2-0. Octavio, to be effective, has got to get the breaking ball over. Has got to get the breaking ball over.
It's a pretty big number for the Dodgers, hitting overall 265 with runners in scoring position.
And the count 3-0.
Aaron Pareda getting loosened up in the pen.
Well, on one side of the page, you'd like to see Pareda. There's way outside, no chance. Back-to-back walks. On one side of the page, you'd like to see Pareda get as much work being called up like he was. On the other side of the page, the work that he has to get, you don't want to see, because it usually would mean right now they're trying to break him in easy.
Well, if he's ready, I'd put him in here for the simple reason it's already 5-1. You have a couple of innings to go. I know you have left-hander Loney up next, but you certainly want to see if Pareda can get hitters out in situations where he doesn't have any margin for error. That will tell you a lot about a pitcher.
Well, that's one reason I love to see youngsters breaking out of the bullpen. You can pick and choose there.
Right.
There's the strike. And Bronx cheer comes up. Sacks packed with Dodgers. And Kemp with a big hack. The count 0-2. Done. 2-run single by Casey Blake. They go to the bottom of the 8th. Not good.
Experience featuring 100 out-of-market games a week live on your computer. For more details, visit WhiteSox.com, where baseball is always on.
Well, Kuroda has been on tonight. Hiroki Kuroda, who has really been struggling, coming in with a 1-3 mark. Not so bad at ERA at 3.86, but they say he's been struggling. But as Charlie Steiner and Rick Money told me before the game, they think he was ready to break out, and certainly he has done that.
Well, just 2 hits, the homer by Konerko, the single by Dye, and that was a looping single in the 4th, and that's been it. And no walks, and so his control has been letter perfect.
He's made some good pitches as AJ is lined to second, and he has grounded to second. Takes strike 1. He's retired
21 of 24.
Ramon
Check that.
Troncoso
23.
loosening up in the pen. 11 ground ball outs for Kuroda tonight.
There's a strike in the count. 0-2. Fans getting on Joe West for that call. Five and 0 for them. 1-2 and 0 for us. First of this 3-game set. First of a 6-game homestand. Sox come in at 16 and 18 here at home. 17 and 18 on the road.
2 great road trips. The last 2 times out. 5 and 1 2 trips ago. 5 and 3 this last trip. But the lack of hitting at home has been puzzling.
Maybe you ought to stick a guy out there in the ivy in center field with a white sanitary sock on his right foot and a pair of binoculars. When you see white, it's a breaking ball. Nope. 2-2. And there's a souvenir left side. Up in the LG Skyline Club seats.
That's why you should bring your glove if you're up there.
Oh boy. There's a happy little, pretty little girl. And that's out number 1. 7 strikeouts for Kuroda.
And as you can see by the graphic, a season high for him.
And here comes 2 of the 7. Brian Anderson struck out in the 2nd and the 5th.
And Kuroda's been tough from the start of this game. He threw 3 ground balls in the first inning. That's usually a sign you've got pretty good stuff. He's maintained the same velocity throughout.
That's one thing about the Japanese pitchers, is that's fouled away. They are very consistent in that velocity. The reliever that Seattle had, it was so effective. He was consistently at 92 with his fastball and 82 with his splitter. It was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, very seldom varied. There's another. That one's a breaking ball.
Well, that's his splitter. And scouting report on Kuroda, when I talked with Rick Honeycutt, he told me that he throws his splitter 88, 87 miles an hour. He said, so it's a really hard splitter, and you watch it.
And there's a strike to Chris Getz, who has struck out and gone out deep to right center. And that's popped up. Martin giving chase. Got room. Almost overran it. Meanwhile, that is 24 out of 26 he has retired.
client entertainment, family parties, or a night out with friends. It provides first-class service while enjoying White Sox baseball. Reserve a Diamond Suite for a Sox game today. Call 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com for more details. And Aaron Pareda comes into the game on for the third time. He does not have an earned run average. He does have 2 2/3 innings of work with a hit.
James Loney, Mitch Jones, and Juan Pierre here in the top of the 9th inning. Got to hold them right here and then try to put something together. That's fouled away. LG Skyline Club seats. And the count evens at 1. Loney, that 2-run homer in the 2nd. In the 4th, he went out to center. And in the 7th, had a little check swing nubber back to Johnny Danks. Just tuning in, Johnny struggled in the first 2 innings, and after that, after the first 2 hitters of the 2nd inning, settled down and just absolutely pitched terrific. Worked very slow in inning 1. Started off working very slow in inning 2. After the 2-run homer, evidently got a little upset, started getting it and throwing it. That was a pretty good rip by Loney right there.
Well, I thought from the time that ball left the ballpark off the bat of Loney in the 2nd, John Danks just saw his stuff come to him and made some great pitches from that time on.
That's flipped out into left field. Short left field. Is going to fall for a base hit. So here's Mitch Jones. He started off that 2-run 8th with a double right down the left field line. There's a shank, base hit right there. Wow. Talking about 2 duck snorts. Meanwhile, runners at the corners. Spend some meal money.
Well, this is normally how the Dodgers do it to you. They don't hit the ball out of the ballpark too often, but they use speed, and in this inning, a couple of little loopers.
Here's Pierre. One is 0 for 4 tonight. Takes first pitch strike. Infield in. Outfield. About equidistant. Swung around to the left and fairly short.
There you see the defense. Pierre has actually hit the ball a little bit harder than he usually does this year, as they've gone to him and say, look, they defended you one way your whole career. You got to be able to drive the ball on occasion.
Holds the runner. Takes care of Pierre, so Jones moves into second. 1 out, Ducks on the punt. That'll bring up for a call. Switch hitter. You got another switch hitter on deck in Orlando Hudson.
Well, the middle of your lineup, that really helps when guys can turn around. And it's going to be a different lineup, of course, when Manny Ramirez comes back into the lineup. You'll probably see then most of the time Frocal leading off, Hudson hitting second, and your switch hitters will be at the top of the order.
Well, a switch hitter is one thing, but when you get a switch hitter in that 2-hole, 3-hole, 4-hole, 5-hole, now you've really got something.
And there's a strike. Former first baseman Eddie Murray made a lot of managers make a lot of decisions.
It was pretty tough, and they had Singleton and Murray both switch hitters at 3 and 4.
There's a nice pick coming home. He got 2 down.
Good hands by Gordon Beckham at third, and it's a contact play. And they cut down Loney at the plate. It's pretty good.
So here's Hudson. Yeah, when you get those switch hitters, those power boppers. Mickey Mantle made a lot of managers make a lot of decisions. Mark Teixeira made a lot of guys make a lot of decisions.
But I can't remember a 3 and 4 hitter like Singleton and Murray both being switch hitters in the same lineup at the same time, and both run producers.
Both smart hitters.
No question.
Well, with Eddie hitting behind Singleton.
Kenny got some good pitches to hit.
No question about it.
Because Kenny could do you some damage. Eddie hit 504 home runs, I believe.
Over 3,000 hits. And was a great 7th, 8th, and 9th inning hitter. Runners at the corners, 2 down, 2 and 1 for our guys in the bottom of the 9th. He's got that one by him. Schedule hitters are Beckham, Pasednik, and Alexei. And hopefully Dye, Tommy, Konerko, AJ, and do it again. Take him right here. Full count. Casey Blake on deck. He gone. So he pitches out of that 1st and 3rd, nobody out situation. Meanwhile, we'll go to the bottom of the 9th. We need 4 to tie.
Highlights, get Bill Melton's analysis, plus listen in on Ozzy's post-game remarks. Don't miss USA, the White Sox post-game live immediately following the game right here on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
And Kuroda still in the game. He's used 90 pitches to win his way through 8 innings. Just 2 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts, and 14 in a row retired as he looks in at Gordon Beckham.
And we have only stranded 1 guy with those numbers. Gordon 0 for 2, but he has made 3 good plays at third base, which probably is going to win him pick to click tonight.
He's got a big strawberry on his elbow to show for that effort.
Well, from what you and I have seen of him, that's not the first strawberry he's had.
I don't think it's going to affect him too much, no.
For a call. So 1 out.
That's 7 ground balls to Rafael Furcal, and he's handled them flawlessly. Pasetnik is telling Furcal to move over, move toward the middle, because he's hit it to him 3 times. So he wants him to hit it toward the middle, play him toward the middle so he can hit it through that hole on the left side. He hasn't found it yet.
.21 to count to Pives. Pives came in hitting at .319, now hitting at .314. Two and 1 to count with Ramirez on deck. Once again, a reminder, Gavin Floyd against Randy Wolf tomorrow night. Make your plans to be with us right here at US Cellular Field. If you can't, that game will be over WCIU Channel 26 Thursday afternoon. Leighton Richard against Chad Billingsley in that game right back here on Comcast Sportsnet. Two down. Nine strikeouts for the 34-year-old right-hander. And 1 to count. And there's a base hit. Oh boy, Alexi.
It breaks a string of 16 straight retired by Kuroda. In fact, it probably is a little off the outside corner, but good plate coverage. As you can see, only in the 4th did Kuroda use as many as 16 pitches.
So here's Jermaine. Takes first pitch strike.
Well, Jermaine can't believe that one. It looked to be a little inside. And up.
Goes Alexi. That will not be a stolen base. So Alexi will score. And it's a 5-2 ball game.
Ringing base hit by Jermaine Dye, and that's run batted in number 40. And here comes Joe Torre, and that's going to be it for Kuroda. He will not finish this game.
One heck of a ball game. He'll depart, and we'll be back.
He has 17 saves, given up only 16 hits in 35 in the third innings, 56 strikeouts, 13 walks in 35 in the third innings. He's 6'4", 290, and he's got an electric slider.
So a couple of big, strong guys going at one another right here in Broxton and Tomey. Jimmy 0 for 3 tonight. There goes Jermaine. And there's strike one on the outside corner.
Well, up on the board, they had the speed at 60 miles an hour. I got to believe it's a little harder than that.
Oh, they're just fooling with you.
Yeah. Broxton's got a mid to upper 90s fastball. He just has remarkable stuff.
Chopper foul as Jermaine goes into third.
He was running to third before Broxton delivered the ball and just kept on coming home. And Joe West is staring at him and says, "Go back to second base." And Joe is looking at him. Joe has a smile on his face. Jermaine was thinking before he got to third, the pitch hadn't been thrown, so maybe they'll just leave me here. Maybe they won't notice.
Well, every now and then you get a reboot, you know.
Yeah, he's a hard man to miss, though.
Meanwhile, the count 0-2. Casey Blake way back over there, obviously. And this ball game is over. Wow. Big heater right there. After the first inning plus, Johnny Danks was just outstanding tonight.
I thought he was terrific, but unfortunately, with 3 runs.